Hi, this is Samantha Denefe with Your ID in Arkansas Catholic, and I'm excited to be here with you today. I want to talk about something interesting that I recently saw from a CARA report. So CARA does research. They interviewed 214 people who used to be Catholic, so these are fallen away Catholics, and the median age for people leaving the Catholic Church from this group was age 13. Now, what's so interesting about this is that these children often did not talk to their parents about this. They didn't even talk to their religious teachers or their CYM directors or anything like that, and they were still attending these activities, still going to Mass, because when you're 13, your parents still force you, right? But they said that's when they left the faith. Sometimes in the study, they even left earlier, at like 5th grade or 4th grade. So they're intellectually saying, like, I'm out, like, I don't believe in this anymore. And through the study, they also kind of grouped these people into like 3 different groups to where it really talked about why they left. And the 3 groups were, one was a drifter. So they just kind of got busy, didn't really care that much, other stuff was going on in their life. One group was the dissenters. So they were more the argumentative things, kind of what we think of when we think of teenagers. Arguing with you, saying like, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that. And this 3rd group was called the injured. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit today, the injured. So these are people who have something happen in their life and they can't believe that God will let it happen. Okay, so they're injured by something that happened in our institution, in the church, through people. And so that's why it's so important nowadays to really focus on empathy and evangelization. Matthew Kelly likes to say, like, you can't convince a starving person to give away their bread. Same kind of thing here. If someone is hurting, we can't like just share the gospel with them and ignore their hurt. In the Gospels, when Jesus shared the good news, the kerygma, he always had like healing associated with it to show his divinity. And we as evangelizers can do the same thing through empathy. We can say, well, tell me, how does that make you feel? For example, young kids also often will struggle with the idea of suffering. Why does God allow suffering? And if you're an evangelist or an apologist, you know, like, you've got an answer for it, right? But that's not necessarily empathy. What those kids want to hear is like, oh my goodness, that is so hard. And you want to take it back and put it on them, like, why do you think God would allow suffering? And you want to connect with them. And that connection will bring more healing than if you just try to give them the answer, right? So it's so important today to listen, especially when we look around and see how broken our world is and what these kids are struggling with. Everybody knows that there's spikes in anxiety, there's spikes in eating disorders, there's spikes in pornography uses for our kids. They're hurting. So it's important to talk to them, to make that connection with them, and to really just fall in love with who they are first. And then you can start proclaiming the good news, the kerygma. So my challenge for you is to go out there today, talk to your kids, talk to your family, but learn to listen and to be full of empathy for them. This is Samantha Denefe with Your ID in Arkansas Catholic. See you next month on Friday, First Friday.